First of all, let's take a look at Cleveland, where Cleveland Browns superstar defensive standout Myles Garrett made news today. He officially requested a trade. He wants out of Cleveland. Um, I see a lot of reacts already online. A lot of people are supporting Myles Garrett. I mean, the Browns have been, let's be frank, a huge dumpster fire this year. And where's their hope? I mean, they got a lot of money tied in with Deshaun Watson, who won't be playing next year. And when he plays, he hasn't done that well. And what do you have? I mean, you've got a lot more question marks than answers. Nick Chubb had that injury in Pittsburgh a couple years ago. He came back this year, didn't play that well. So the questions start to amass, and there's really no solid set answer. Quarterback, right now you have Jameis Winston, you have DTR. All logic would say the Browns should use an early draft pick on a quarterback, but the Browns have a lot of other needs too. Look at running back. Nick Chubb a couple of years ago was one of the best in the NFL, but he hasn't come back well enough from his injury. So can you trust him in the future? I don't know. Jerry Jeudy had a pretty good year at receiver. I don't know if the Browns really have that second receiver just set apart yet. So you need a receiver. David Njoku, he's okay as a tight end, but the offensive line, you got a lot of high-paid guys that just aren't really playing that well. Look at defense. I mean, Myles Garrett was the thing that made the Browns defense okay, but there's holes. There's holes in the secondary. There's holes at defensive line. Probably their second best player on the defense, if you really want to look at it, is Denzel Ward. But Denzel Ward has had injury problems throughout his career. So what do you do? There's no really great set, solid answers. And, if I'm Myles Garrett, I'm looking at that, I don't know how else to respond to say, hey, I want out of here. He just came back. He spent some time in Orlando over the weekend for the Pro Bowl. You're talking to a lot of players, I'm sure, some of his friends. They're like, what's going on? What's going on? And I think it's got to be depressing to Myles to look at other situations around the league and see that people are having success. Even Baker Mayfield. I mean, he's been in playoffs a couple years in a row. He's won some games. And Myles doesn't have that. So I don't blame Myles for wanting to leave. And I think the Browns really have to figure out what's next. Definitely a rebuild, but what direction do you want to go? And another question is, what can the Browns get for Myles Garrett? Because now the trade demand is public. Everybody knows that. It would have to take a big bidding war for anything else to happen.